Moni Pulo is an independent Nigerian oil and gas production and exploration company established in 1992. Seinye Lulu Briggs is Executive Vice Chairman of the company, and she joins me now. Hello there.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for joining us today. Now, Moni Pulo operates the offshore 114 concession. That's a concession located in the eastern lobe of the Niger Delta. Tell us about this asset. It produces oil, but it also has the potential to produce gas, doesn't it?
Oh, yes, very much. We have done exploration of this block, and over the period, we discovered that there are actually 5 reservoirs in the block, and the only one we're producing from, the Abana field, has quite a lot of gas, but we're producing oil. When we did exploration on the other 3 fields, we discovered that one of them was mostly gas. And because we really concluded the exploration work, we drilled 2 wells into that particular field, and we discovered it had more of gas. These are certified by NSAI. And the other one was pure gas, no, very little oil. Then the northern area, that's the half of the block that we had not done exploration earlier. Recently, we shot seismic 2D and 3D, and that also showed so much good prospects. We have 3 prospects there, and what we desire to do now is to drill appraisal wells, exploration wells rather, in those blocks, and then drill again to appraise the wells to find out exactly what's there, so that we can start production as well from the northern area.
So tell me, how much oil are you currently producing from that field in the 114 concession?
Right now, we are producing about 5,000 barrels per day. We had peaked at 30,000 barrels in that particular field. But we have reserves, 2P reserves, that's the average proven and probable reserve, in that same block of about 28 million barrels yet unproduced.
And what about the timeline to commercialize this gas you've got in the concession?
We are at advanced stage in our discussion to get a company that produces floating LNG to pick up our gas, because our concession is actually located in the shallow waters at the Calabar estuary, which leads into the Atlantic Ocean. So it's very easy for the floating LNG to be docked in that corner. So probably would just lay pipeline from the wells, from the block, from the field to the floating LNG. So we're discussing, and we hope that very soon we'll conclude all the plans and sign the agreements for that. We plan to commercialize our gas.
I would like now to talk about the 3 new blocks the company was recently awarded, OPL 231, 234 and 239. So far you have collected 2D and 3D seismic data in the 231 block, and the results so far have been interesting, haven't they?
They have been, actually. We are looking forward to drilling exploratory wells in that particular block. We are currently doing the site preparation to determine where best we should locate, our site of operation. 234 is a totally land block, and the results that we received from the previous owners when we bought the block tells us that it is more of a gas field. So we're talking with also local gas plants to pipe our gas to the national grid and possibly, produce into the national grid. So that talk is going on. 239 is an offshore, deep offshore field. We're also talking to the bigger players that are that surround our block, because our block is in the middle of so many bigger players. So whichever is producing, it may be okay for us to talk with them. We are currently talking with one of them who will produce ours along with theirs.
You are, by the sound of it, a company with a lot of interesting assets.
Yeah.
But you are operating in a tough environment in the sense that there is a security risk in the Niger Delta. Tell us more about that.
Well, there is security risk everywhere these days. We hear what's happening all over the world. But yes, Niger Delta, but we are comforted by the fact that we are also from the Niger Delta region of Nigeria, and we happen to be very much conscious and aware of what's going on. We are not surprised, we are not shocked. So being that we have in-depth knowledge of the area, of the people, and what their needs are, we have decided to attack the problem, as it were, from two ends. And the first one is to try to satisfy as much as possible the aspirations, the needs of these local dwellers in the Niger Delta area. It's actually a highly deprived area. So our CSR even is something we take very seriously. And since we started operation, we've not had a single incident from, against our operations from the communities in whose backyard we're, exploring and producing hydrocarbons from. Because we are also aware and we know these people, we have good intelligence directly from the communities, from international bodies, from the Nigerian security forces. We actually also utilize them to protect our facility. We have the floating producing facility. So we have engaged the Navy, for instance, to station their heavy gunboats, if you like, around our facility in the waters. And people, they feel safe, they feel very secure. And for movements in the waters, all our movements are escorted, by the military personnel.
So no complacency about security by the sound of it?
No, we are in the place where we're also from the Niger Delta, so we know. And I would also like to say I think they have a high regard for our chairman, the High Chief Lulu Briggs. He's a man that is highly respected, not just in the industry, but in the communities. He's well known, and he's always lived for the people. So it would take a rogue militant, for instance, to strike at his facility.
Seinye, to grow the business further, will you be open to further collaboration?
Yes, we're very much used to it. We started our operations by partnering with an international company that took up the operatorship and supported, or in fact explored and developed the field. So we are used to partners. We gave them as much as 40% of the equity. And when they were done after about 3 years, because we were lucky in the sense that the oil price kept rising as they were investing, and by the time we started producing, it had really peaked, so it broke all the projections. So they were able to get out, in good time. And we're also in the period again when the price is down. So yes, we'll look to partnering with investors or banks, or to work with us, because there's quite a lot of potential untapped, in our fields.
And so far for your exploration program, you've been using your own funds, haven't you?
Yes. Moni Pulo is debt-free and has been, apart from about 21 years ago when we borrowed to start off the company. And since after 3 years, when we paid off, up till this moment, we'd never owed any bank. We've been operating and doing all our work by our own internal resources. But right now, because we need to take the next step or get to the next level, we believe it's necessary again, to look into the market and present ourselves to those that have the appetite to grow their money and are not afraid to approach the Niger Delta region.
And that's also why it's important for a company like yours to attend the World Oil and Gas Week, isn't it?
Definitely, and we've spoken to quite a few people. They're interested in what Moni Pulo is doing, and they have recognized that despite the negative image that the country seemed to have, that there are good players in the industry who are not just there for the immediate returns, but plan to remain for the long haul. It's our reason for coming into the oil business.
Well, Seinye, Lulu, Briggs, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.